Hey guys, today is Thursday, November 26th. It is 11:10 a.m. and the temperature outside is around 9 degrees Celsius. I'm here at Queen's Park Station in downtown Toronto. And the plan for this one is to head up to University Avenue. Then I'll walk over to Queen's Park and take a look around the provincial legislative building, where apparently there's a protest going on, or at least one that started at 10 a.m. I'm not sure if it's still happening at this moment, and then I'll just wander around downtown for a bit. I don't really have much of a set plan for this. Today is American Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving to all our friends down south. So this should lead me out to the southwest exit of the station at the intersection of University Avenue and College. Let's look south down University Avenue. And I gotta hustle here to make it through the light in time. These are two-phase traffic signals. And that's a look east down College Street. So now I'm walking north on Queen's Park towards the provincial legislative building. Looks like there's some news reporters for the CBC and Global News. Just in the middle of the boulevard there. And that would be the protest I heard about just up ahead here. It's my understanding that this is an anti-lockdown protest. I just learned about it this morning. It was organized by a man named Randy Hillier, who's a member of provincial parliament representing the Kingston area. And right ahead of me is Toronto's Walkman. I've certainly been running into this guy a lot lately. I won't hang around this protest too long, but these are certainly unusual times in the city. Although, if I'm not mistaken, outdoor gatherings are to be limited to 10 people or less, which would technically make this not compliant with the current restrictions. I am wearing a mask, and I will not be mingling with the protesters or Going deep into the protest there. This seems to be more of an anti-mask gathering than being purely focused on the lockdown measures. Yeah. There's a pretty good police presence. You'd think they'd get a bigger turnout if they didn't hold this on a Thursday morning. There's a look southbound Queen's Park towards University Avenue. It must have been announced to bring your pots and pans to this thing. There's certainly not a lot of masks being worn in that crowd. Hey,
are you broadcasting?
I'm just recording a video right now.
You do an awesome job showcasing the city. It's Johnny Strike, right?
Yes.
I'm not sure how many views you get for your videos, but keep doing what you're doing. You do an awesome job showcasing the city. I really enjoy.
Do you mind being on the video?
Sorry?
I'm pointing the camera away. Do you mind being on it?
No, not today. I do comment from time to time in your videos. I don't often get to watch the live streams because the time is.
Yep.
You do a great job showcasing.
Okay, thank you.
I enjoy your work.
Just trying to document like a fly on the wall.
You do a great job. Awesome job. Keep up the good work, man.
Cheers.
Take care.
That was my first time being recognized. Not while live streaming.
They have been eroding our responsibilities, eroding our responsibility to take care of myself, to take care of my family, to take care of our loved ones. They can't even do that. Freedom without responsibility is no life. Responsibility without freedom is no life. They need to be going hand in hand. And one of the things that allows government to roll at our freedoms and roll at our
Well, there you go. That's what a Thursday morning protest at Queen's Park looks like. These are Toronto police, and those gentlemen over there, I believe, are provincial police. That was neat. Got to meet a fan. Things seem peaceful enough. Maybe I'll head up to Wellesley Street here. Let's be a bad boy and jaywalk. Let me get the heck out of the way of this thing. There's certainly a glowing sentiment in the city that there needs to be more support for those that are economically impacted by these restrictions. And I really think if the people organizing this type of event tried to find a greater common ground with the general population, they would probably find themselves having a lot more support. I think a lot of the people that are concerned with the measures as they pertain to local businesses, but still support things like distancing and wearing masks, and capacity limits, but don't support freezing the local businesses and leaving them out in the cold while the bigger corporations can still operate, and telling the restaurants they can't even have outdoor dining and that sort of thing. I think you'd have a lot more of those people on board if they just stuck to that kind of message, but what do I know? There's a look at Queen's Park over there. I went through a walk through there last week. I streamed through there and I recorded a video through there. So this is Wellesley Street. So let's just explore downtown for a bit. It's not too often I wander around the city on a weekday morning. And it's kind of a nice day. It's certainly been a lot colder than the days prior to this. I'm not sure exactly what this development is, but I mentioned it in a prior video. This is something I really only used to see in Asia, where they would cover the exterior of a construction project with a large tarp like this. They usually leave it just exposed. In this city when they build these large towers, but I don't know if that's a decision that the developer makes or if it's now a requirement. There is St. Joseph's College School. And the next major street ahead here would be Bay Street. I did look over my shoulder before I hopped into the bike lane there. I suspect there were a lot of people from the 905 and surrounding regions at that protest, given that that organizer wasn't from the Toronto area. Which is kind of interesting because that seems to be where Doug Ford's fan base is located. He's the provincial premier. So this is Bay Street. I've certainly been up and down here a number of times. If you go south, that'll take you into the financial district. And just to the north here is the Yorkville neighborhood. I don't think she's supposed to be fiddling with her phone on her e-bike. You could see her kind of swerving over the lane there, and she was clearly holding her phone. Coffee Island Coffee Roasters. I do have my gear with me to do a live stream, which I might fire up after this walk I record, but I think it's a good idea to pop into one of these local cafes and buy a lunch and spend some money to support them. They certainly don't have the usual out of the city crowd to prop up their business like they normally would. This is kind of ominous. I don't know why I said it that way. A lot of these towers are disappearing into the fog. And this is the intersection of Yonge and Wellesley up ahead. There's some neat alleyways and side streets just up here that are full of businesses. And this is St. Luke Lane. I was thinking about cutting through there, but it's probably not the best idea with that construction going on. Here's a look at Yonge Street on a weekday lockdown morning. There it is to the south. Maybe I'll just go south for a block. LCBO is allowed to open.
But why you like that?
But most of these retailers, unless they've been deemed to be essential, are not allowed to have customers come inside. This here is Maitland Street. So this is now the east side of downtown. Is that some kind of generator being powered by solar? I have no idea what that thing is. It's certainly noisy, and it doesn't seem to be connected to anything. So just up ahead here is the Church Wellesley Village. And it doesn't seem to matter which data provider I use. None of them can seem to hold a signal strong enough just through this particular intersection here to keep a live stream going. I've tried 3 different ones now. And all 3 of them have failed right in this area. That seems to be someone from out of town. You don't see too many of these things downtown. O'Grady's Tap and Grill. So this is the area known as the Village. And I honestly couldn't tell you how this compares to how it would normally be at this hour on a November weekday morning, but These are all places to come back and revisit. I would imagine this is the quietest it's going to get. This is the strictest of the province's various control zones. Mason Staines House and the South Curry Hall. Often when I walk by these buildings, I'm kind of looking to see if I can pick any information off a plaque that'll give me the date or some indication as to what the significance was. It's kind of a little trick I use when I record these walks, but I came up with nothing on that one. So just up ahead here is Jarvis Street. Maybe I'll just continue this zigzag pattern a bit. You'll notice a lot of really old grand homes on this street, as this used to be one of the more wealthy areas of town. Jarvis and the neighboring Sherburne were full of homes and manors and mansions. It's where a lot of people with money back in the 1800s settled in. And then gradually it shifted into being one of the more lower income parts of the city. And just recently, this side of town has started to bounce back a bit. Well, I don't know if that's the right way to phrase it, but it has started to gentrify, and we're seeing more and more new developments. And towers like these ones. And I had a friend who lived in this building. He had a very large bachelor unit. No balcony, but it was big. And the building looked a little ratty on the outside, but it was well run. He had no complaints and the rent was reasonable. Generally, for people that are looking for a reasonable rent downtown, the east side is pretty much their only option these days. And if there's one benefit from this pandemic, there seems to be a reprieve in rental prices. And this is Carlton Street. And to the west of Yonge Street, Carlton becomes College Street, and that's where I started recording this video. Queen's Park Station is located at University Avenue and College. There's an old hotel that's been converted into a student residence for Ryerson University. Just to my left are the Allen Gardens. This park houses a rather nice botanical garden, which I don't believe would be open right now. It's one of the larger downtown parks. There's a large playground over there full of kids playing around. Earlier on in the pandemic, there was a lot of talk about shutting down playgrounds. But the province has left those out of the recent waves of restrictions. And the next street up ahead here is Gerrard. If you follow Gerrard to the east of here, it'll take you across the Don Valley Parkway and the Don River and into East Chinatown, and then past Gerrard Square and into the Little India neighborhood. And there's the most famous Harvey's location. If you go into Google Maps and you type in Hooker Harvey's, it'll actually take you to this very location. think LA Roofing and Exteriors needs to get the brakes on their truck checked. That guy was clearly way over the line. So for some reason I turned west onto Gerrard Street. Maybe I'll see if I can cut through the Ryerson University campus just up ahead. So we're back to Church Street. This used to be called Ryerson Polytechnic School. At some point in the 90s, it got an official university designation. Although it seems as if every post-secondary school in the province these days is a university. There's a look south down Church Street. Someone just said hi to me. And I'm not sure what exactly the status is of universities right now. I know public schools are operating right now and they're having classes. And I think a lot of that has to do with the province realizing that there's no way parents would be able to handle their kids being at home all day. Some of them need to leave the house or need to work. And the costs of having someone else look after your kids are quite astronomical. Here we go. I'll look through Ryerson. I don't really know a whole lot about this particular campus. The faculty of art students and staff planted this tree in 2014. What tree? This tree? That looks like it's been there a while. That tree? Is that a tree? This little guy? That plaque isn't adding up to me. Maybe I'm just a dummy. This looks to be the preserved facade of an old building. I wonder if that squirrel is aware of the lockdown status. Hey, Mr. Squirrel, you're not supposed to leave your tree for non-essential purposes. That would be Yonge Street just up ahead. I think this area here is often frequented by skateboarders. And this here would be Victoria Street, which means Dundas Square is right here. I think that'll be an appropriate place to end this video. There's also a Popeye sandwich right around the corner, or rather a Popeye's restaurant right around the corner, and I think I'll pop in and have myself one of those chicken sandwiches for lunch. Then I'll find somewhere to grab an iced coffee. This here would be Dundas Street East. Maybe I'll just go head towards the main intersection of Yonge and Dundas up here. scramble crossing has been engaged. And here's a rather somber and empty Dundas Square. I watched Action Kids Thanksgiving Parade live stream this morning, and that was certainly a bizarre sight this year. This isn't quite on that level, but it's still pretty damn weird. But I think it's time to go eat and take a little break. That's the Eaton Centre. Of course, malls aren't open. Their retailers must rely on curbside pickup. Only stores that are essential are allowed to operate, which would not be Nordstrom. This is the most profitable time of the year for a big retailer like this. And they're not even allowed to open the doors. You gotta wonder if there'll be any concession on their rent, being such an important anchor tenant. Anyway, here we are. And that's what I shall be having for lunch. I hope you enjoyed this rather random walk around downtown. There are links to my Patreon and seldom updated Instagram account in the description. If you wish to support the channel, consider signing up to Patreon or a YouTube channel membership, which is available on the main page. Thanks again, guys, and I will catch you on the next time. Catch you on the next time. I think I meant to say catch you on the next one. All right, guys.